Now, if we can just go to the briefing of the 6th of July, and you've got the memorandum which we also made available to the committee. During the press briefing, you made these allegations: an organized crime syndicate, drug cartel is infiltrating the criminal justice system. Is that still your view?
That is correct, Honorable Chair.
Then you say the incident that triggered the disbandment of the PKTT was the arrest of Mr. Katiso Molefe on the 6th of December, who is believed to be one of the members of the syndicate. Is that still your view?
That's correct.
Senior members of the security cluster who are associated with the crime syndicate issued instructions without the authority of the National Commissioner for the removal of case dockets. That's a reference to General Sibiya, is it?
That's correct.
A potentially corrupt relationship existed between an alleged associate of the Minister of Police, named as Mr. Mkhwanazi, and the Minister of Police, Mr. Mchunu. Is that still your view?
That is correct.
A potentially corrupt relationship existed between Mr. Vusumuzi Matlala, who was awarded a police healthcare contract of over 360 million rand in 2024, Mkhwanazi and Minister Mchunu. Is that still your view?
That is correct.
That a member of parliament used potentially classified information that was passed from crime intelligence officials to register cases against crime intelligence officials. This member also sent communication to the Minister of Police and requested him to refer the matter to an independent investigative body to investigate these matters. Is that a reference to Honorable Adams?
That's correct.
And the reference to the independent, that's a reference to the matter ending up with IDEC that then resulted in the arrest of Lieutenant General Khumalo.
That is correct.
Then you also say unnamed prosecutors in Gauteng are part of a crime syndicate, which also involves politicians, law enforcement, that includes SAPS, Metro Police and Correctional Services, judiciary, and is controlled by drug cartel as well as business people.
That's correct.
Still your view?
Yes.
These unnamed prosecutors, are they unnamed because of classified information that you have, or are they unnamed because you don't know who they are? Either you've been told who they are or you suspect who they are, but can you not share it with us?
Well, it is known who they are, some of them, but we cannot share because this investigation is connected.
Does the same apply to politicians?
Yeah, well, we've named some politicians that are part of this, that are enabling it. When I mention the role of politicians, and maybe, I don't know if you want me to qualify this in some instance. Honorable Chair and members, I had spoken about Honorable Adams, I've spoken about Honorable Kolapanat, amongst others, that are politicians, Minister Mchunu. But I must indicate that our leaders of society, which is our politicians, might not necessarily be involved with the bad things at the beginning, but because of the corrupt members within, they capture these leaders and they use them. And to extend that when the leader then is used, it either becomes aware but continues doing the wrong. If he's not aware, once this thing is made, is brought to his or her attention, and that leader is expected to pull back and then start asking questions. And a classic example of that is me saying, yeah, that Minister Mchunu was new in the organization. I believe, I'm still saying, yeah, Honorable Sangol, that Minister Mchunu was captured to end up writing that letter. But he doesn't accept that. He owns it. Yes, I understand. He typed the letter in his own iPad. The iPad that when he came here and the others said the information was deleted, because they went to erase, when the information was taken by the team that was investigating, gadgets were taken. The gadgets were taken, and when the gadgets were analyzed, the information was deleted. All of them are deleted. Minister deletes information from the government document. Gadget. They delete it. But as I said before, you delete, we retrieve. So we have the information. We know that indeed, he's right. He is an author of the letter. He wrote the letter. He typed it himself. He sent it to his chief of staff. Chief of staff sent it to the PA. What sits in the letter is an electronic signature. It's not Mchunu signing it. It's a secretary that placed the signature there. The document comes back to the minister. Minister instructs that distribute. And the chiefs of staff distribute. We then feel, okay, that's how it lands to Mkhwanazi, because while it's distributed to the official email address, there's a private email address where the same document is sent to by the chief of staff on the same day. So I still believe, I'm still convinced that Minister Mchunu was made to do what he did. He was made to do what he did. So it's many other leaders that are made to do what they do. But some of them, then they find joy in it and they go with it. But when we put here the issue of politicians participating, is because politicians become enabler. Because in the instance of the minister, is controlling the organization. For the minister to write a letter and stop the filling of vacancies, and suddenly a year down the line, we have no head of crime intelligence because of that letter. If the minister decides shut down this team, and the process is undertaken to shut down the team, that is to compromise investigation. Honorable Chair and members, when Kumalo and them were arrested, that entire CGI ops operation came to a standstill. Those junior members couldn't sleep at home, could not get paid, could not do anything because the money and resources needed to come from crime intelligence, and they put a stop on it. Honorable Adams is not here now. Millions of rands were spent by crime intelligence from the secret fund account between the time Kumalo was arrested and the time when they came back. That they are busy auditing now to try and justify before the Auditor General, when the Auditor General is going to come and audit. So that shows the extent of the problems that we had. So the investigation was frustrated by that arrest. Until they were released, allowed to go back to work, then they continue working. So without going into details, Honorable Ms. Kona Palnat, she's the first to get a phone call when a member of crime intelligence was arrested, Gerald Shaba, comes back from prison, straight back to work. The members of crime intelligence, because they did not want them there, they pick up a phone and they contact the honorable member. The honorable member is quick on the pen. She writes a question from Parliament. National Commissioner, why are you violating the court order? Why is this man doing there? What she did not know is that Lushaba did not receive the court order, which was similar to Kumar. The magistrate was sober. He said, me as a magistrate, I'm not going to prescribe where must go. I'm releasing you on bail. The state did not oppose this. So go back to work. He landed in the office. What came out of that is an honorable member that writes a letter saying the National Commission is violating the law. You must arrest Lushab. So this is just to show you how the politicians have been used. The honorable member can tell you. She received the response, but she was fed the wrong information. So she will end up with the stigma of saying she's working with the team because they don't verify information. You take it and you jump and you run with it. You know, I respect the leaders of our side. Honorable Adam sitting here, we still call him honorable. Despite the fact he called himself a thief, but we still call him honorable. The reality is, once they start getting involved as leaders on things that are supporting the rot within the justice system, working with the criminals outside, business people outside, it then compromises our leaders. Each one of the parliamentarians represent millions of South Africans, so we cannot undermine their presence here. Regardless of how they behave, they represent people. So we must respect that. I will still call them honorable, despite how I feel. But it's that which I want to indicate as we have it here, that yes, the members, the politicians and the members of parliament they still participate in things that they shouldn't participate in. So I will ask that they will have to pause next time they receive information, interrogate information coming before them so that they make an informed decisions.
What we also see in the directive, Minister Mchunu's directive of 31 December 2024, is a reference to not filling posts in crime intelligence and the reference to the border police, border management. Did that surprise you, or is that unrelated to the termination of the political killing stars team, the disestablishment of that team? Or do you connect those three things? If so, why do you connect them?
Yeah, Honorable Chairperson and members, I think we're going to maybe when we SC talk further, be able to dissect the whole letter with those topics.
Yes, I'm asking you now because I may not get there.
Yeah, PKTT is disbanded. The filling of vacancies at crime intelligence and the border issues. On the first, when I looked at it first, what affected me as a provincial commissioner was the first one, the PKTT, because it operates in KZN, nowhere else. That's what worried me. I said, but why would the minister come and dispense something that is here, that I'm in charge of, without talking to me? So it is that investigation that we started doing, because right at the onset, I'm a disciplined person that wants to talk to the minister to try and establish, Minister, somebody might have fed you the wrong information. That's why I reached out to Ngabinde and said, hey, can you get the minister, the three of us sit down, so we can talk about it, so I can establish exactly what's happening. But instead, what I get, I'm being recorded as if I'm threatening the minister. I'm glad that the recording was played here. So you have to tell me as lawmakers that it's clear the minister is the one who instructed Ngabinde to record. Is that not a violation of the law? I'll leave it to you to advise me on that one. What should I do with that? But they record me because there's a certain agenda that has been pushed. The minister has fed something else. Had I called the minister directly, perhaps he wouldn't be here, because he would have realized what he's been made to do. That is wrong. So that's what was a problem. But the second part of filling of vacancies, I did not understand. But as I started paying attention to what's happening at crime intelligence, then I realized that it is crime intelligence that influence him. That minister must not allow these vacancies to be filled, because they're going to be filled by people that they cannot control. And I thought, okay, this is what's coming. But what about the borders? So when we link the chain and we realize there's criminality, and majority of the criminality of ours, what is investigated, that link the PKTT, touch the borders, because these drugs come from South America into the country mostly. Could it be that there's something to do with the borders? Until Gerald Mosikiti arrived here and she submitted this statement about their engagement with the minister, which made her realize that the minister is talking about the borders because the minister wants the police to withdraw from the borders and hand over this whole policing of the borders to the border management agency. So it's all these things that become clear as the time progresses that ordinarily I didn't know about it at the onset. But as we were putting it together, we were linking it with the drugs. But the latter, why intelligence, why the borders, we didn't understand. But as the time progresses, then we start realizing, okay, this is how all these three subjects are so important to the minister on the 31st of December.
Was this letter of the 31st of December 2024 also a prelude or precursor to you and General Masamolo possibly being arrested, or that your arrest was now imminent?
Honorable Chair,
you had the theory that you called this press conference on the 6th of July to preempt your arrest.
Honorable Chair and members, I've said it before that I'm going to invite you, if honorable members are not going to get to that, but it should be on the annex, the affidavit from BMA that involves that sergeant.
Yes.
That he had ran with the abducted person to Mozambique illegally. So PMA says so, that he crossed to Mozambique without going through the system. And he only came through the system when he came back. The statement under oath.
Yeah, you can refer to the letter. It's the Home Affairs. It's in the bundle.
It's in a bundle.
Yeah. Lot one. It's item 5, honorable members. No.
I'm not seeing it here on my panel.